I'm looking at why is really all of this happening, and the real reason for our teams are because of the definite main purpose statement. So I thought I would share the results of what the statement does to your life and why, and what's up with the statement. Why is it that we're talking about this statement like it's such a big deal? Like, why the statement? Well, I have a couple guests on the line who I thought we'd share with everyone their experience of how it's touched their lives. It's the person that you become in addition to the money you make, because if you're just making money, then that is not going to serve everything. The main vision is who you become in the process, and that is the beautiful. My first guest I have on the line, her name is Norma Ashley, and Norma is from Oregon. And Norma, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're doing Nu Skin, and then I'll kind of interview you a little bit. Good morning, Norma.
Good morning. 21 years doing data processing, doing consultant work for computer programming, and took a right-hand turn and changed careers and decided to do massage therapy. Now, when I was doing consultant work, I made really good money. When I'm doing massage, I have really good satisfaction because I'm helping people and being with people.
Awesome.
I guess I've been doing this for a couple of years now.
So please tell us, Norma, what has happened? What has this statement done for you when you're with meeting Alan and traveling on the motor coach? And, because a lot of people, they go, when I first heard about that motor coach, I was like, oh, there's no way I'm getting on that thing, And then what happened, and all of that is just a story. It comes from this fear of the unknown. But once you get to be with Alan and you get to get personal coaching and mentoring from him, everything changes instantly. So what was your experience as you were being, mentored by Alan? Because you had an amazing experience with him, I remember, while you were working on your statement.
I did. And, I had been doing my statement for a year before that. I had been to, some event where it had been talked about. My friend Mary Helen Beveridge had really encouraged me and had actually helped me write my statement. And I had read it aloud once in a while, kind of a thing. I wouldn't say I was even reading it aloud daily at the time. And there was already a few changes that had happened just because I was reading it aloud once in a while. And then I made the choice to get on the motor coach. And wow, I was scared. I didn't know what to expect. Just knew that I needed to be there, that I needed that experience. Got on and started, I think the first night, Alan started working with me on doing my statement. About 2 o'clock in the morning, we're in deep fog driving. We'd started in Washington, in Renton, and we were driving, I believe, to San Francisco. And so about 2 o'clock in the morning, Alan is driving, and I'm the co-pilot, and Alan is working with me on my statement, and it is totally amazing. And he's telling me to put some words in there like sexy, that I'm just like going, no, I'm just not going to do that. That's just not who I am. I don't need that. I don't. But I listened, and I put it in my statement and some other things in my statement that I said, no way, I don't think I can say that. I'm not going to say that aloud. I'll say it to myself. And then I did start saying it on the coach as everybody on the coach was really encouraging me, and it has been life-changing since I have started doing my statement, and now I do it at least every day, at least 6 times a day, and often I can get in more times than that. My friends have started coming back to me saying, you're different. I don't quite know what it is about you, but you've really changed. And my very, very close friend, whom I get massage from, I see her every week. I'm either giving her a massage or I'm receiving a massage from her. About a month and a half after I had been on the motor coach, she came back to me and she said, I've got to tell you, you are so different. you're fun to be around now. When I used to know, before you started doing this statement stuff, you were not always so much fun. It kind of brings me down to be around you. And now when I'm around you, I feel uplifted and I feel really good. And that kind of stuff, I mean, I can feel it for myself, but when people start noticing and telling me, it has a really big impact.
So tell me about that. How has that made a difference for you, Norma?
I am not as afraid to talk to people. I'm not saying that I am being mega successful and I'm not, really out there, getting to blue diamond right away. It's gradual. It's happening in little pieces. But I started noticing, I went down to the coast this week. I was in the hot tub, and I was able to talk to people. I was able to listen to what was going on with them, rather than worrying about how I was being perceived. When I get in spots where I start going through all of the, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough kind of stuff, I can just say my self-confidence formula a couple of times, and it really, I have words in there that I am worthy, I am powerful, and I'm believing it. I'm starting to believe that I have self-confidence and believe that I am worthy. And that's a big deal for me, because that's something I don't think I've ever had in my life, is to be really self-confident. And it's awesome. That's the best I could say. It's an incredible experience to change inside and then have it be perceived from the outside, have other people see it as well.
Okay, that's awesome. So what Norma is talking about is she's talking about visioning, and that is the power of a statement. A lot of times when we get our statements written for us, we look at our statement and we're like, that's so uncomfortable, or that's not me, I'm not like that. That's the whole point. The whole point is for you to grow into the person that you truly are. But we have all these crusted layers of these beliefs of who we are, and we're stuck. The point of the statement is to break the shell, is to break that eggshell, is to bust out of it. And the way to do it is to write in things in your statement that are the opposite of who you are. So you grow into that and you stretch as a person. And as you stretch and grow as a person, you become a leader. You become a way shower. You become this person that people want to be around. You begin to glow. And people just want to be around you, and you don't even know why, and they want to be around you. And that is the beginning of the success. And what Alan's talking about is, are you doing your best? Is a process of shedding this shell that has corroded us and kept us rusted in this old way of being. And so the statement breaks that. And as it breaks it, you become a co-creator in your business, and you bust out of that, where just things start to flow and start to become effortless. And so, Norma, tell us one thing that made a big difference, and then I'm going to go on to our next speaker. But tell us one thing that really made a big difference for you by doing your statement.
One of the words in my statement is powerful, and it's one of the words that I had a reaction to. I didn't particularly want to be powerful, and so I started doing some self-analysis. Okay, so why does this word bother me? What's going on there? And realized that in my mind, powerful meant abusive, meant taking advantage of someone or hurting them in some way. And one of the things that somebody told me is that when I walk into a room and I smile, the whole room lights up. And as I'm doing my statement, one day it just hit me, that's power. To walk into a room and smile and have everyone feel uplifted by it, that's a form of power also, and power doesn't have to be abusive. And that was such an aha moment for me, that I have power, have always had power, just didn't realize it, and that power can be a good thing as well.
Well, Norma, thank you. I really so appreciate having you on, and I love seeing you. Like I saw you, and I went, wow, you look so different. You look so different, and I'm so happy for you and proud of you of what you're creating in your business. And I want to thank you. Thank you, Norma. Okay, so now my next guest speaker that I have on the line is Mr. Ralph Weir, and Ralph is the kind of person who he actually is the sideline. Ralph is Alan's front line and has been in the business, and he's going to tell a little bit of his story. But Ralph and I started going back and forth with this thing because we started blasting out our statements 12, 13 times a day. And Ralph's been kind of my buddy in the business as we do these statements, because the shifts that we've noticed only we understand because we've gone so far outside of our box and the miracles that have been happening in our business, and I mean miracles in our business daily. So, Ralph, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Ralph.
Wild, crazy partner doing the statements.
Yes, you are. And so tell us a little bit about, for those of you who don't know who you are, and your short story, and then kind of get into, like, just what's going on. Go for it.
Okay. I'm Ralph Weir from San Diego, California, and like I said, I'm frontline Alan. I've known him for many years. Been in the business about 7 years. Basically, I had plenty of money when I got into business, and I tinkered with the business for many, many years, and I thought I was actually working it, but I realized after my finances took a dip and went away that I really wasn't working the business, and had a point where I was basically homeless. And so I took it, and this is last year, and so it was kind of a very eye-opening experience, and finally at a point where I ended up being kicked out of my apartment, moved into someone else, kicked out of there because I didn't have any money going, and I didn't know where I was going to go, so I ended up in a friend's house in their backyard, living in a tent. And I remember waking up, it was the first night, and I woke up the next morning going, and it just hit me that, I'm really in gratitude for what I have. And so it was a really great story, great realization, but I think where the statement comes into play is I knew I had to get my heart and my mind straightened out, and so I jumped on a motor coach and rode around the country with Alan and stuff. And one of the things he kept saying to me was, it's all about willingness to change. And so we would actually be doing sit-ups and push-ups while we're bounding down the roads across the country and getting physically in shape. But, and came home and was out taking walks to get exercise, and I realized, hey, why don't I do my statement? So I started doing my statement out loud, walking down the streets and with a piece of paper because I didn't have it memorized at the time, and people would look at me, and someone had mentioned, are you practicing for a play or something? And I said, no, this is my goals. Anyway, I realized one day when I was doing my statements a couple times, I don't know, just this little thought came to me. It was like, well, if I do my statement twice a day and I'm getting minimal results, why don't I do it more? And so I started saying the statement out loud, 4 or 5, 6 times a day. And I remember having a realization that kind of a feeling of a joy came over me, like I hadn't felt in a long time. And I knew that I was in the right place, or that I was moving in the right direction. And then I started doing it more and more and more, and building it up to 12 and 13 times a day, saying it very rapidly over and over again. And things started changing. I met a guy online who was a Vietnamese consulate general for business into Vietnam. He signed up. My sister-in-law, and my brother, who I've been resisting coming to the business for 7 years since the beginning. We stopped and saw them down in Texas. She came on the bus, signed up, did an LOI, and she said the difference She saw a difference in my eye. She saw a difference in how I was being. And I said it was a statement. She saw a sparkle in my eye. And then I've had people along the way and people show up in my life who I'm working with right now who are amazing. Just I'm putting cards on my door and things like that are just a lady owns a franchise for a moving spa in an RV kind of a thing. All kinds of results. I'm out in the middle of Oregon and somebody stops by to a meeting and she was interested in what it was and I ended up showing her the spa and she ends up buying one and signing up right there. I don't know how many more should I go into, but I
think the thing is, Ralph, that what have you felt? Tell us about what you vision while you're saying your statement. How do you do it? Because I was talking with someone earlier about how they say your statement this morning, and they kind of rip through the numbers because they try to say it as fast as they can. Mm-hmm. And that's actually not the right way to do your statement. The way to do your statement is to embody a feeling in your solar plexus of abundance and success. And it's an expansive feeling where it begins, your heart expands and expands, and then you're visioning your dreams as you say it and how you feel. So how are you saying it when you do it? It's interesting as I would say it. What happened, because I really believe in what you're saying. It's really valid. What I've noticed is when I was saying it, because I was getting bored because that's what I started saying it faster and faster. My conscious mind got bored. And so I was like, well, I want to get through this. But yet what I realized for myself is the more I said it, I was actually connecting with my subconscious. And then I had flashes. I'd be walking along or whatever, and I'd had flashes of my dream, my goal would come to me. And I'd feel it. And it was like amazing feeling. And that's kind of how it's happened for me. And okay, so let me get this straight, just so I'm clear. Okay, so basically, because your story is just will go down in history. You were basically, if I'm understanding you correctly, what you're telling me is that you were at one point homeless. You were living in a tent. You didn't even have the money to even get online, and somehow you figured out how to get online, and you found someone online that is a consulate for the United States government who builds business in Vietnam, and now Alan's building a downline in Vietnam for you. Is that right? Yeah, he was actually the consul general for Vietnam, for U.S. business into Vietnam. So he'd actually wanted to introduce Vietnam or Nu Skin into Vietnam back in 2006, and he wasn't available then. So we connected, and then they signed up right away, and they've referred us to some people and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, Alan has met with some of the people over there and that kind of stuff, and they're very excited about what's going on. Wow. So, yeah, wow. I had no phone. I had no money for phone, no money for gas for the car for me to do the business. But I said, well, what can I do? And get on my computer, and I started going on, websites and stuff. And I knew that I had to just keep looking for solutions. And I couldn't do demos or meet people, but what could I do? And that's all I always kept thinking to myself, what could I do? And to stay positive and focused, because it's easy to fall into, poor me and what I can't do and I guess I got to get a job or, that's important to have, you need to have money and stuff. But I was unwilling to relent to the circumstances. Ralph, I love your story. Tell us what it's been like for you to go from, I don't have the money for this, I don't have the money for, because now I hear excuses from everybody. I hear, hey, I can't afford to do the business, I can't afford a spa, I can't afford blah blah blah, and yet you're rich. You have food, you have shelter, you've got clothes. You're telling me you were homeless, living in a tent, and that you broke that chain and then discovered how to come from abundance and discovered how to consciously create what it is that you don't have by visioning what it is that you want. And then it actually attracted this guy who called you.
Right.
He called you.
Right.
Wow. Tell that breakthrough because I remember you telling me you didn't have money for a phone, and Alan kept saying, Ralph, you're going from less to less to less to less, and start seeing more to more to more to more. Remember he talked about that? Can you share that with the people on the phone?
Well, it comes down to it comes in a 4-letter word. It's called faith, and really having that, and it's something that's believing in something that's sight unseen. And so I just stayed in faith, and not that it was easy. Let me tell you, when you're looking for change and to find coins to buy food with, in the back seat of the car or in the trunk or whatever, to that point, and I had my battles with it. My goodness, between the years is where it was, and I just decided that I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to move forward. And I just knew the path that I was doing wasn't working, so I had to kind of like pick it up and try something different, do something different. And no phone to call people, no gas in the car, and so I just said, what can I do? And that's all I kept doing. I know that I can do this. I know that, that I have this faith that I can do this. Don't know what it looks like, but I'm just going to keep fighting and keep moving. And, and I understand that the excuses. I run into myself for my own self, and I run into other people's excuse. And, the crazy part is it's not necessary. I think doing the statement really has given me power for myself is, I don't need to have excuses anymore. All I need to do is focus on what I want and keep saying and striving to what I want, and just believing that I can have it happen. I guess that faith comes into play again.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, Ralph, yes, you did, Ralph, and I'm so grateful to have you. I thoroughly enjoy our conversations because we talk about, actually, Ralph and I get to talk about the miracles that happen in our daily life because of what the statement does. And it's a process of surrendering to the statement. And at first, when you first say your statement, when you first start saying it, it's going to sound false. It's not going to be real. Alan told me that it's not going to feel real for 2 years. And so how long have you been saying your statement for? And then how long until it started to really kick in for you?
I would say it started really doing it probably November. And it was funny. It didn't take long. That's when I realized that things started probably in a couple weeks, saying it consistently every day. I mean, with passion and fire and that kind of stuff. So it didn't really take me very long. And,
okay,
Eric, I just thought of something I want to throw in there real quick.
Sure.
Is that Alan, when I was on the road with him, he was doing his weekly call, or his daily call, and we're in the living room with these people in Oregon, and he asked me to get on, and he wanted me to tell my story. And this is really fresh at that point. And I said to him, do you want me to tell the whole story? He goes, yes. So here I am telling people all over the country, around the world, whatever, that I'm homeless and living in tents and da-da-da and all these things. And it was like my pride was there. And it was like, this is all went through my mind. What are people going to think? What are they going to say? Family, friends, possible new distributors and customers and all this.
Are you there, Ralph? I don't know if his phone dropped or not. But what's happening is that Ralph started talking about a story, and I remember every time he would tell it, he would cry because it was deeply, deeply personal. And so there's an element of the statement that you must come from, and he was so there, that's why it exploded for him. You have to come from gratitude. there's a key element. There's abundance cannot flow in an ingrateful heart. So that is very, very powerful while saying the statement. And it's very clearly written, I'm so happy and grateful. And those two feelings, happiness and gratefulness, fuel the statement. It is a formula. Like oil and water, they don't mix. Gratitude and happiness are a formula for stirring your heart. And when you stir your heart, it expands. So is that you, Ralph? So he'll probably come back on. But I just want to share this with everybody, and then I'll wrap for the call. We'll wrap early. That the statement is the most powerful thing that I have ever done in my life and in my business. And honestly, my story, having lost $2 million of real estate and lost 5 homes across the country, I lost a home I was living in, filed for bankruptcy while doing my bank. Why do I tell you that? I share that story because I didn't like the person that I was becoming in the process of being stressed, not knowing how to handle the bills, but the statement gave me a clarity of a vision. And having a clear mental picture of what it is that you want and having a burning desire, the white heat of desire. The reason why I started so quickly for Ralph is because he had a white heat burning desire. And if you've got to make you living homeless in a tent to wake it up, that'll do it. You hear Sean Brady losing his downlines in Australia, traveling around the world, that will wake up a white heat desire in your heart. So to get the white heat desire lit, you don't have to go through those circumstances. You can say the statement, but you must say it with full passion, and you must say it with full vigor. And it means abounding passion, beyond what you know, beyond what you know. And as you say it, beyond what you know, because I promise you there's going to come times in your business that you're going to get bucked off the horse. And the fastest way to get back on the horse is to say your statement as many times as possible until you feel like you're on top of the world. And in the process of doing that, you will learn how to say the statement. It happened to me. I flew to Texas for one salon that said that they were going to launch the area. I flew all the way to Texas to go to this one event. I did the event, and the guy was so upset. He was so upset that his wife, who also worked at the salon, and his daughter, and the 9 girls who were there were so happy that they liked what I had so much that he didn't buy anything. And I wasted a whole trip flying to Texas, and he kicked me out of the salon. Meanwhile, his wife is frustrated why he's so upset, and that like I'm some salesman or something, but he thought it was going to take away from his salon business. And it was a whole funny thing. So what happened was I was so upset that on my 2-hour drive from Corpus Christi, Texas, back to the, I think it was San Antonio, Texas airport, I was blasting my statement, like a full blast. I was so upset. I remember I called all my friends. I couldn't believe it. I called Jim Hazelton, and I was just talking to him for like half an hour. So the thing is, say it with passion, say it with vigor, and miracles will come in your life. And then you will begin to expect miracles in your business. And then you will expect success. You will actually expect it. And Alan talks about that all the time. Success is nothing more than a string of successful days. And you will actually expect to be successful in your business. You have to have a knowingness that you're going to be successful. Just know that is the beginning of the creative faculty. That is the formula, that knowingness and being happy and grateful. So I'm going to open the call up for anybody who has any questions before we wrap the call. 1 second, please.